that if the board asks you why IAS, so we get different answers. One of the answers that would be very suitable is that I have a liking for the public services, right? So you can say it in whichever form, but mind you, this word has to come in your answer. Nothing is right or wrong. What matters is how you justify. Good morning करते करते they fiddle with their buttons. You know, जो खोला है वो बंद करने लगता है, जो बंद करके आया वो कभी कभी उसको खोलने लगता है. Until the time they actually sit, they are fiddling with their buttons. Now the attention is distracted. आपका भी और मेंबर्स का भी. तो मेंबर उसके बटन को देखते हैं कि वो कर क्या रहा है, क्योंकि हमें तो उसी को देखना है. तो डोंट डू दैट. कुछ लोग पूछते हैं कि सर क्वेश्चन जो पूछता है चेयरमैन को ही हम देखते रहें या हम सबकी तरफ देखें. तो हम उनको कहते हैं कि जो क्वेश्चन पूछे उनसे उनकी तरफ. इनफैक्ट इफ यू सी श्रुति शर्मा बाय IAS सेम क्वेश्चन, she said diversity and all, but she also said, sir, I want to give back to the society. So उस समय तो हमने सुन लिया. बाद में फीडबैक में again you can see my conversation with her, hear my conversation, that I told her, I said, don't give that answer. She is just 24 years old. I told her कि अभी 24 साल की हुई हो, अभी तुमने सोसाइटी को क्या देना है, अभी तो सोसाइटी से लेना है तुम्हें. पीपल लाइक अस जो निकल चुके हैं उस दौर से, हम सोसाइटी को दे रहे हैं बाय गिविंग मेंटरिंग यू एंड ऑल, बट ये डोंट गिव दिस आंसर. IAS आप इसलिए नहीं करो कि मैं सोसाइटी को देने के लिए. गलत आंसर, वो गलत लगता है, झूठ लगता है. आप समझे. तो she said, all right, what rank that you get, your marks are recorded in the Ministry of Home, in the Department of Personnel. What kind of personality they are looking for? What are the attributes? Uh, what are the traits that they are looking for in the candidate, which will fetch you good marks? It is in your UPSC notification. Good afternoon, friends. I am so happy to be among you, and my association with the Chahal Academy has been very long, and but this is the first time I'm come to his classroom center, Chahal's classroom center, and I'm really impressed with uh, with the classrooms and particularly uh, the way they are conducting the this particular session. And I must congratulate Mr. Sumesh for organizing such a session, because I find that this is very beneficial to people like you, because uh, all said and done, when the interviews are held, most of the things are the same. You have the same process. And when we take mock interviews, which we would later on after some days, uh, these students, the candidates have the same kind of questions. What should I do? How should I enter the classroom? How should I greet the members? Uh, and many more things. I'm going to discuss all those. Uh, and we'll have question answer session also, so that you can always address your queries and questions as to how you must conduct, both in terms of the process, in terms of what you should prepare, in terms of the DAF analysis. Before that, I would like to congratulate all of you for having made it to this level. And at this point in time, I would like to also very, emphatically, tell you that the interview, the personality test, though it may have 275 marks, some candidates may have this feeling that, all right, I have already done 1800 के तो मार्क्स के हो ही गए हैं, अब तो क्या है, जो होना था वो हो गया, 275 में मैं क्या कर लूंगा. So let me tell you, friends, you're going on a long journey. It is not a job that you are going to seek. It is not a one-time job that you're appearing in some multinational interview, and then if you get a good job, it's fine. If you don't like it, then you can leave. You are building your career, and whatever you score finally, that score, very few people know about it. That score is going to be with you always throughout your career till you retire. So it is not just the rank. Some people may say, one is always, uh, very complacent. He, even if I get IAS, it's fine. At least I should get into the IAS. That's fine. Now that is the motive of everyone. But I would say that even you should say that within IAS, I would like to be at a very high rank. And the only way, you cannot calculate, you cannot compare, तुम्हारा कैसा हुआ, तुम्हारा कैसा हुआ. You can't ask 25,000, 2,500 people who have got into this stage. The only thing is that you can do your best. So be very serious. And the point that I have mentioned about the career long, achievement is what rank that you get. Your marks are recorded in the Ministry of Home, in the Department of Personnel, right? And your rank is published everywhere that this is your rank. Then you go to academies. I'm talking of IAS. In the IAS, you go to LBS Academy, Missouri. There you have exams, departmental exams on what they teach. It may be public administration, it may be political science, it may be law, it may be some other subjects. Now, those marks are further added to your marks that you finally get here. And that decides the All India seniority finally, right? And depending on that All India seniority matters so much, again, at later stage, that when you want to come as Joint Secretary in Government of India, you get empaneled. And in the list of empanelment, suppose if they have empaneled 40 people, then in the list of 40 empaneled people or officers, the one who are the topmost, may get the postings first, and they get the seniority accordingly. Similarly, as you land up from joint to additional secretary, from additional to secretary, you realize that if you are high on the rank, you will get the postings first. And at the fag end, when you have just about 2 years, 2.5 years to go, to retire, even 6 months extra as Secretary Government of India matters a lot. And there are some people who are not able to become secretaries because either they are down below or their rank is slightly lower and they are retiring early. So friends, all this that I have mentioned has nothing to do with your mock interview directly, with your interview, but it has lots of implications. And the idea behind telling you right in the beginning is, please take it seriously. Even one mark will matter a lot. I'm also saying from the experience that I have had, as the panel member of the mock interview board of Chahel, and I see many candidates, they are very casual. When they come for the mock interview, one presumes that you are very serious. You have studied well, you have prepared well, and now you want to test yourself. कि देखें जाके मैं अपने आप को टेस्ट करूं कि मैं कितना अच्छा मैंने तैयारी करी है. And if he has not done it, maybe depending on the marks and the comments given by the interview board, then you go to back home and then study something more and then come. This is what we tell. If somebody is casual, somebody is not prepared properly, don't jump from one mock interview to another mock interview. Go back. If you have some errors, if you have some deficiencies, and they have been pointed out to you, you must go back and rectify them first. If you go from one to other on the same day, वो भी यही कहेगा भाई तुम्हारा ये प्रॉब्लम है, तुम्हारा ये प्रॉब्लम है. And प्रॉब्लम को एड्रेस ही नहीं करेंगे आप, तो फिर how would you improve? So basically, so don't be casual and prepare even for the mock interview. Prepare very well, as if you are appearing in the main interview. It is basically the confidence, with which you get into the UPSC room when you go for the final interview, that matters. And that confidence is not with everyone, because we have tested your knowledge. Those who are academically very good, excellent, they have got into the exams. They have studied well, they have written well, they have got it. But not necessarily that they have the confidence of speaking, they have the confidence of interacting. Are you getting my point? So you have to build that skill also within the time that you have. How you would build the skill, we can discuss later on. But This is the first point that I wanted to mention. Now, secondly, I would like to cover that the personality test of UPSC. What are they looking for? Like, I'm not saying anything from my side. This is what is written in the UPSC guidelines. So please, you must go through the UPSC guideline and see as to what have they mentioned, what kind of personality they are looking for, what are the attributes, uh, what are the traits that they are looking for in the candidate, which will fetch you good marks. It is in your UPSC notification. I'm not saying anything, and I've drawn extracts from that particular notification, and I would like to discuss in more detail with you, and also tell you how you can, for each of the trait mentioned, what exactly does it mean, and why I'm discussing all this, because when they have written that we want this kind of trait in the candidate, which means if they actually find that trait in you during the interview, they will give you good marks. So everything that you perform should also be related to what they are actually wanting. Again, I'm going to remind you, and I've seen from the experience of conducting mock interviews, that the candidates, they think that they are going for a job interview. And especially when somebody who has worked in multinationals, so they behave as if, they are talking to, uh, discussing the package and discussing, what all, services will I get, what benefits I will get. No, it is a different kind of interview, and this is what we are going to address. So, candidate friends, my first point that I mentioned is that the UPSC's guidelines is like this. Now, it is mentioned here, the candidate will be asked questions on matters of general interest. Now, when you say general interest, it means that other than what your qualification, what your DAF, what your where you have lived and everything is concerned, rest of the things are those which everyone should know, or everyone would know. They're not going to pick up some history book or take out a leaf and say, all right, let me give him a surprise. Or ye पूछ लेते हैं, so नहीं बताएगा, मुश्किल होगा. No. If there is, why academies and why everyone insists on reading newspapers? And why questions come out from the newspapers in terms of current affairs, whether it is economics, whether it is social sector, all the other sectors, because everyone reads it. So one presumes that you should also know it. So general interest means that everyone who may have interest in a particular happening should be known to the candidate. Second, the object of the personality test is to assess the personal suitability of the candidate for a career in public service. Now mark this word, public service. And the question which we generally are asked, and we point out to the candidates during mock interview very frequently, is that if the board asks you why IAS, so we get different answers. There's no problem in different answers. We'll discuss that also. But the public services is the core objective of your interest in the IAS, because they are looking for a person who is suitable for a public service. So all your questions and answers that you have, they have to be, in that mold that you would like to have go into the public service. And that is why the questions are more related to the public services, people, systems, governance, public administration, not in terms of the subject, in terms of general. We'll discuss some of the illustrations also. But mind you, this is one of the answers that you have to register in your mind, that when you are asked, okay, Mr. So-and-so, why are you have done your BTech from IITs and this, that, you're already working 3 years experience. Why are you not going into, the corporate sector? Why IS? Or maybe anyone can be asked. So one of the answers that would be very suitable is that I have a liking for the public services, right? So you can say it in whichever form, but mind you, this word has to come in your answer. That is one. Now, which means that you should, in your answer, reflect. I'm not dictating the lines, mind you. Don't do that. Otherwise, all of you will say the same thing. वो समझ जाएंगे अच्छा ये किसी एकेडमी से आए हैं, वो नहीं करना. और जब आप जाओगे अपना खुद फ्रेज करोगे तो you would be able to phrase your own, and it depends on the question also, not necessarily the same kind of question. So don't rattle any answer, but keep this in mind. Your entire thing should show interest in public service. Your conversation should show that, which means that you should have knowledge about public service. You should have knowledge about the system in which you are going to work. It's just like when you go to a job. I remember I had done my management, and initial 3-4 years I worked in corporate sector. And I did appear in many interviews during campus. I did MBA from Delhi University. So whenever we used to go to for placement for some interview, so we were told also that you should know all about the company. Because when the company people, they are interested that if you are passionate about their company, then only we should take them. Yes, sir, I have applied in 10, you are 11, so I came. You can't. So same passion you have to show. So knowledge about public services. So one has to read. You just can't go like that. You all right in my general studies paper, sir. I did not know all these things, but no, where you are ultimately going to land, should you not be inquisitive about it? Should you not be curious about it? Should you not be curious about the LBS Academy? Should you not be curious about what would you become immediately after you complete your training? And what is involved? What are your powers? What are the powers of SDM? What is district administration? Collector, people don't even know what powers collectors have. I'm telling you my experiences with candidates like you in the previous years, with the same Chahal Academy, when candidates like you, your friends came and they said, I'm not aware. So you have to know certain things which are so commonly known. That was a time I remember 2020 or 21, some states or some cities had imposed curfew. So I asked them a question, you know what curfew is? Now you should be curious about. Delhi had curfew, some other districts had curfew. So they said no. And this is something which is directly related to what you're going to do in the IAS. And mind you, your first preference is IAS. Even otherwise, you can't say, sir, my preference was IRS, first preference, so I did not read about district administration. You can't do that. So friends, knowledge about the public services, district governance, do read about district governance. Do read how the government of India runs. Do read about how the state governments run. Do read about the rural India, the village administration, Panchayati Raj, the constitution, the constitutional bodies, and about the public administration, how services are given, how public distribution system works, and how all kinds of new housing schemes, what does the poor get in terms of housing, in terms of finance, in terms of Jan Dhan, all the important programs, even if you have read it in your general studies, you must see it from application part. So please, the public services is not just that I am interested in public service. All right. So let me ask you one thing about what is Ayushman Bharat. You think Ayushman Bharat has been working well? Now you don't even know Ayushman Bharat. You may have read it for a 100-word answer, but you may not be able to tackle the specific question which is being asked. And they are asking, how do you think it is performing? Now, you cannot say by just reading Ayushman Bharat. You have to read something more, that Ayushman Bharat has been doing fairly well, sir. In some states, it is not doing so well, and lot to be done. Give some data, give some more information. This is how it will show that you are actually interested in public service. So friends, this is our first point. The third guideline, I am reading the guideline. You can just go back and check up. The interview personality test intended to judge the mental caliber of a candidate. Now, what do you mean by mental caliber when it comes to interview? Your mental caliber and intellectual qualities have been tested in the paper, in the main examination, preliminaries also. But now what is important is in those 30 minutes, how can you show your mental caliber? And that can be reflected, friends, by how fast your grasp is about understanding a question. A question is posed before you. Now you are lost. So immediately, oh, he takes a lot of time to even not, he's not even understood the question. It means it may also be because you could not hear it properly. That's a different thing. And for that, you could always say, sir, I'm so sorry, but did you ask me this? Don't ask the chairperson, I mean, the member, sir, can you please repeat the question? That's indecent. But if you have not heard the question properly, you will come out with a very weird answer because you don't know the question. So you can say, sir, did you ask me about this Ayushman Bharat's success and progress? And yes, I meant that. Or you may say, no, I was not asking Ayushman Bharat. I asked you PM Awas Yojana. Oh, yes, sir. So this is how you have to type. There may be occasions. I have seen, sir, I have not understood. Or you may say, sir, I have not understood. Can you please explain what exactly are you wanting to know? Be very courteous, be very polite, because it will it is not taken in the right spirit that somebody has not understood. Now, understanding a question is different point. That and many times it has happened. I am asking them something. I am asking them how Ayushman Bharat has been successful. What do you think? Give me 3 points to say that it has really met with success. Now the answer is, sir, Ayushman Bharat is a scheme which was launched so many years ago, and it provides for this per 5 lakh per person. This. I'm not asking this. This is mental caliber. Even if you have grasped it, you don't know the answer, and that is why you are deviating from the main question. So the member says, no, I'm not asking you this. I know what Ayushman is, Bharat is. I'm asking you this. Then two things will happen. One is that you have now understood the question really and you answer it well. Even then, your mental caliber is slightly questioned. When you knew this answer, why did you not understand the question? That is my point. The second general reason is that you don't know the answer. And you are just trying to get out of by saying anything. Don't do that. Never do that. Maximum, Sir Ayushman Bharat, I know that it's a scheme in the health sector. It's one of the biggest schemes ever launched, covering a large number of people, as many as half of the India's population or 40% of India's population with 5 million. However, I am not very well versed with how Ayushman Bharat is actually doing, sir. I will read about it. Now, what have you done? You have shown that Ayushman Bharat scheme is not a totally, you are not lost. ये क्या चीज है मुझे पता ही नहीं. तो आप अगर सीधे ही कह देंगे सर I'm sorry sir I won't be able to. Now what would the member think? He doesn't know about Ayushman Bharat. Jabki fact is the person knew about Ayushman Bharat. Now I will simultaneously give you some live instructions or illustrations also. Now this is what happened with the topper last year, Shruti Sharma. You must have seen her whatever videos and all. Now, incidentally, she also came to Chahal Academy, and I was the chairperson of the mock interview board. Now, she did the same thing. We asked her about, you remember from the question? We asked her about something, which she said, sir, sorry, sir, sorry, sir. Then the member asked another question related to that. You haven't heard, huh? It was 5 trillion economy, 5 trillion USD economy. It will reach by whatever. So when the question was placed before her, she said, sir, I am not aware. Now the members, at least I thought that, she doesn't know about 5 trillion USD. And if somebody has not even heard about it, that it's very strange. Then the member added another question. All right, you tell me 5 trillion economy, this. Then she started off. So this is this. So later on in the feedback, we told her, why did you not give this impression that you knew about this 5 trillion USD? It's just that you did not know the figures. Just because she did not remember the figures, she said, sorry, sir. So same thing which I have mentioned. मेंबर्स को बताइएगा कि हमें पता है ये, लेकिन हम आपके इस आंसर का जवाब नहीं जानते. आई एम श्योर. So this is how I have given you an illustration to give you a idea as to what mental caliber and how you should get out of it. And mental alertness is also not directly, but also shows if you have the depth of knowledge, if you have, I would say the the width of knowledge, the range of knowledge that you have, you will be able to grasp a particular thing faster. And that will show your mental caliber. So in those 30 minutes, mental caliber का मायने बस इतना ही है कि आप किसी क्वेश्चन को बहुत जल्दी से समझ जाएं और उसका आंसर भी आप बहुत ज्यादा समय तक सोच के नहीं दें. सोचना पड़ता है तो सोचिए. I would not say that say sorry because you may have to think for 5 seconds and then you may have to answer. You take 5 seconds, not an issue. Answer the question. But if somebody is taking 1 second or 2 seconds, his mental caliber would be deemed to be a bit better. So what does it mean? If you are prepared well, you will not take much time. If you're not structured in your mind, then you will try to first structure the question, the answer, and then, sir, can I take some time? Yes, please. Yes, please. And then you think and you roll your eyes, this, and then you, sir. Now, there's no harm in that, as long as you're answering correctly and you know the answer and you are structuring. But the members, they have understood कि structure कर रहे हो. Recall नहीं कर सकते. Recall तो करते हैं जब आपको figures पूछे. अच्छा भाई, how many World Heritage sites are there in India? Sir, give me some time, sir. There are 40. Now, you're not recalling that. You're basically recalling. If you've understood the thing, you need not recall. If a question is asked about demonetization, today, these days, I'm just giving an example. What are your views about the demonetization? The Supreme Court has come out with an order 4-1. What is the view of the fifth one? Do you agree? What view you would follow? Now, this may take some time. But if your views are already in your mind, which you should because you are appearing in an interview, तुम्हें सड़क चलते कोई नहीं पूछ रहा, आप तैयारी के साथ जा रहे हो, तो आपका व्यू ऐसे जो हॉट टॉपिक्स हैं उस पर पहले से बना होना चाहिए. Sir, I feel that blah 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 whatever, but give reasons. And I also mentioned, I'll later on mention about the particular thing that the candidates, they always have this feeling that you have to always speak pro-government. Because you're going to go into the government, so I must say pro-government. Even if you are wrong, maybe in your own way or from public point of view, nothing is right or wrong. What matters is how you justify. But there is something like that a right is endorsed by the majority, right? So you have to also air the views of the majority. If demonetization is asked from you, what is your view? The government has taken steps. Supreme Court has also come out with a verdict. What do you think? It was demonetization good? Now, you cannot just be straight and start criticizing one or the other. Sir, I think it was a totally wrong decision and it should not have been done this way. No. Start with, so the government, as we have all read, did with the intention of 1, 2, 3, 4. The action of demonetization was done with these objectives. However, my view is that the way it was implemented, maybe it was not prepared so well that people did suffer. They had to be on the roads. There was no cash. It also had an impact on economy for some time. Things are picking up, but simultaneously there have been some positives also. Cashless economy has come into India. Digital transformation has happened in financial sector and like that. So you have given your views. Your view is not yes or no, good or bad, unless some member may be very excited to sort of corner you. No, say one, yes or good or bad. Now, no member should ask such a thing. But you should stick to what you have maintained. Right? So just example of mental capability. Now, fourth is, in broad terms, this is really an assessment of not only intellectual qualities, but also social traits and interest in current affairs. Now, it has said, all right, your mental caliber is as important. On one hand, they have sent the mental caliber if we're going to test the judge, but at the same time, not only intellectual qualities, but also your social. So, social traits के लिए आपको क्या reflect करना पड़ेगा? Any question which is related to teamwork, कोई अगर आता है, तो आप ये ध्यान रखिएगा कि उसको आप importance दीजिएगा. Society is very important for you. Welfare of poor people is very important to you. The weaker sections is very important to you. Education is very important to you. Health is very important to you. And the societal norms are very important to you, keeping Indian culture in mind. So, हो सकता है somebody may have come from US से पढ़ के आया, ऐसे कैंडिडेट हो सकते हैं, वो बाहर से ग्रेजुएशन की, यहाँ के IAS ले लिया, और या किसी अंग्रेजी स्कूल में शुरू से आखिर तक पढ़े, कॉलेज में भी पढ़े, and then so don't bring that culture. Show an affinity to our culture. The societal norms are very important. Somebody may ask, social media पे आजकल ये हो रहा है, वो हो रहा है. What do you have to say? Would you, as district magistrate, you find that these things are happening? What would you do? Now, you may see, I am also a young man, 25, how does it matter? तो मजे की चीजें क्या है? ये तो आजकल सब जगह हो रहा है. Public services, immediately you think that what are you going to be? Oh, I am going to be the district collector. What are you going to be? I am going to be the superintendent of police. So what should be my answer be? My answer should be in accordance and commensurate to the future job. I am going to be the public services. I can't afford to behave like a young man at this stage and say, sir, all Facebooks are all fine, sir. I have no. You think Facebooks are doing a good job? So socially, for networking, it was meant for networking. That is fine. But then now we are seeing the ills of and many issues and problems coming out of the social media, this, that. Because at later stage, when you become the district magistrate, one wrong tweet or one tweet with communal overtones can bring riots in your district. And that is what you have to think at this stage, so that because you won't change, your personality is not going to change so much. So the members will feel कि अभी ये बिल्कुल youth के उसमें वो कर रहा है कि बहुत अच्छा है सब social media this that. So you have to think of public services and you have to think of these societal norms. So keep these in mind. As far as current affairs is concerned, I think a lot of current affairs takes the major share of the time that you get for the interviews. Other than the DAF, in fact, the fact is that even within the DAF, you are asked current affairs related to your DAF. I will give you an example. Your district, your state, then India, and then the world. Now, any current affair related to your district. Suppose I must have asked some questions or other members also in the mock interview. Suppose there was a, communal, uh, riot in some district, and that person hails from that. In fact, the member digs that particular question and asks you because he has been reading. So he says, "Acha, acha, oh, you are from that place. Oh, you had a communal riot some time ago, did you?" Now, if you have no idea, because you were studying in IIT Madras and you are a resident of Himachal, और हिमाचल में कुछ हुआ होगा, मुझे क्या वहां पता लगे, अखबार भी नहीं आता. But friends, you must know about it because it's your state. So anything which has been remarkably, or maybe very conspicuously, it has come in the general media. Again, it's not that the member had met some accident in your district and say, एक accident हुआ था. So how would you know? Yeah, that's a personal thing. It didn't come in the newspaper. मैंने तो नहीं पढ़ा. तो बट बड़ी बड़ी चीजें जो हो रही हैं उसी के बारे में पूछेंगे और वो आपको पता होना चाहिए, चाहे आप वहां रहते हो चाहे नहीं रहते. There were some candidates who said, sir, I had left my district long ago. उसके बाद तो I have been staying here then. It doesn't augurs well. Because as long as your DAF says that you have lived in that particular area, not just that, about current affairs, it could also be what is famous about your district, what is famous about your city. Tell me 5 things which you would like to suggest to a friend that they should come to this place and do all these things. The best 5 things. Now they start thinking. It should be on your tips. Even if you have spent just 2 years or 3 years of studies and then you had gone somewhere else, you must know about it. Even if you had not known, अब पता कर लेना इंटरव्यू से पहले कि वहाँ पे क्या क्या चीजें हैं in terms of economy, in terms of there were some questions related to GDP of a state. If you belong to Rajasthan, somebody, they may ask you, okay, tell me the economic indicators of Rajasthan. अब आप तो भारत सरकार की और भारत की ही जीडीपी और वो सब पढ़ के गए थे. आप तैयार ही नहीं थे कि राजस्थान से भी हमें ताल्लुक है. अभी अल्टीमेटली यू गोइंग टू गो टू द स्टेट एंड 70% of your life or career you're going to spend in the state. Rather, it could be 100% if you don't want to come to the center, or if you're not selected for the center. Very limited, only 1/4 people come as secretaries. आपका बैच अगर 100 का है तो 25 लोग लिस्ट में आते हैं, तो बाकी 75 so they stay back. So they are 100% times in the state. So you have to also read and be prepared about all possible indicators about your state. I'm not saying all the states. If some members ask somebody who's from Rajasthan, okay, अच्छा बताओ मिजोरम के जीडीपी बताओ. अब कोई बहुत ही ज्यादा स्मार्ट होगा, याद किया होगा तो बता देगा, बट ये तो जरूर बता सकता है कि ये भी नहीं कहना कि मैं राजस्थान का बता सकता हूँ क्योंकि मुझे कहा गया था आपके स्टेट का ही. The only thing that you can say is Mizoram is a relatively not so well off state, though its literacy is very high, but this is this. But I'm sorry, sir, I am not aware of the indicators because I've never gone there and whatever. So you have to tackle, but in your, so current affairs related, anything which happens in your state. And I remember we asked lots of questions. We started off with that only. Okay, so you're from Uttarakhand. So tell me, Uttarakhand has come out with a new population policy. This was last year. So I'm not asking you what population policy is. I'm asking you, do you agree with the fact that some state should come out with a population policy? Now, this is the question. Now, the gentleman did not know much about Uttarakhand. So it came in the papers. He is supposed to reply. Not just him, even otherwise, population policy brought about by a state was a big news at some time. And so everyone is supposed to know, not in terms of the actual order which has been issued, but what are the implications? And should other states, that was my specific question. You are from Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand has done this. Would you, if you were in UP government, would you like to have this policy in your state also? Tell me your views. It is just like asking for views. It is framed in a different way. So friends, current affairs, again, another small tip I would like to give you. You may ask a question, sir, current affairs कितना पुराना देख 10 साल 5 साल 6 साल 2 साल. So my suggestion to you is, generally the members are conscious about the fact that every year the exams are held. So let's take 1 year in mind. And the closer you are from the interview, the more important is the possibility of being asked a question from that happening. आज भी अगर सुबह कुछ हुआ है या आज के दिन में या कल के दिन में कुछ हुआ है, you are supposed to know as to why, what is the news, and give some more brief details. And I've seen, let me tell you, out of 10 candidates, generally I'm saying, whom we asked, did you read today's newspaper? Sir, I'm sorry, sir. There were as many as 50 to 60% candidates like you who said, sir, I did not read. And it was not asked just like that. You padhte ho newspaper? These questions are not asked. It was basically because something had come up in the newspaper today, and something very, very sensational, very important, and was a very potential question for the IAS interview. So he said no. In fact, again, I'm going back to Shruti Sharma for that I'm criticizing her. But you should know that when she came for the mock interview, we asked her, I asked her particularly a question about minorities. You know, the government had wanted the court to make Hindus as minority in some states, Jammu and Kashmir, and where they are actually in minority, Punjab. So I asked this question: did you read about this? What are your views? She had not read. So, but her overall performance was very good, and we gave her very good marks because her personality was very impressive, and few questions answered wrongly. They really don't matter. Number one. Number two, few questions for which you admit that I do not know also really don't matter. And uh, you know, hoodwinking someone by giving a wrong answer, and knowing that you are giving a wrong answer, or knowing that you don't know the question, the answer to this question, and then coming out, that is killing. That can be bad. So admitting, sir, I am sorry, sir. Now, the advantage is you will be wasting so much of time in giving a weird answer and spoiling your impression. That is one. You may think at that stage, oh, I have answered another tick. One more answer, one more answer. It is not a preliminary, your prelim exams. You may have ticked from your side, but they have crossed it because you gave a wrong answer. And in the mock interview, you have the privilege that the panel gives you the feedback. कि आप मिस्टर राजेश आपने ये सही नहीं बोला, इसको ऐसा करो, like we did with Shruti also, कि भाई please don't say that, don't do that, please read newspaper before you go. Now that is a mock interview purpose also. So please don't hoodwink and come out very plainly, I do not know. That is the best answer that you can give if you don't know the answer. So that is the next one is uh, some of the qualities to be judged are mental alertness. I have already mentioned. Now, to my mind, this mental alertness is quickness of response. Now, Mr. Sumesh will also remember at the end of every mock interview that we had in the academy, this academy, we give marks to the candidates to give her or him the idea that, all right, my performance has been, and we try to give the marks in proportion to what UPSC will actually give. And since I've had the experience of being a UPSC member, so one can relate that, all right, this kind of performance would mean these many marks. So we give that so that the person gets the idea. Now it's a different matter. Somebody may do much better than that. Somebody may do more worse than that. Then you may accordingly, but then the trend is known that this candidate is right. So we used to consider those with 70 plus were those who were very mentally alert, quickness of response, and getting the ideas quickly. निकाला जैसे वो एक flow एकदम से आ गया thoughts का, and without any much response time. That is one. I am actually converting these qualities which UPSC has mentioned in terms of the preparedness. How would you reflect this and give this impression that you are mentally alert? So your quickness of response of answers is very important, and that will happen. Second point is critical powers of assimilation. Now, to my mind, power of assimilation is, in terms of the interview, is that when you speak on a subject, whether it's a question related to your own academic background, or whether it is a current affair, or whether now the understanding is very important. Knowledge is not so important. Understanding is important. Now, knowledge is just like, all right, Agra is in Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal is in Agra. That is your knowledge. But when it comes to understanding, it means that some incident has happened. You have, as if you have seen a movie, as if you have seen a video of that particular incident. It's so easy to relate. If somebody is asked you to relate some history, and suppose you have seen that movie, this happened and that happened, that happened, that ऐसा आ जाएगा बिल्कुल mirror image. But if you have read the history book, 2 पेज, 4 पेज, 10 पेज, फिर याद करो क्या हुआ था, फिर क्या हुआ था, it's difficult to comprehend. So your preparedness, friends, on that day, in terms of your knowledge or all the things that you prepare, should be at the level of understanding and not just knowledge. And when you have this understanding thing, if you have assimilated, you have understood the whole thing. कोई कॉन्सेप्ट भी अगर होगा आपको, कोई प्रिंसिपल भी है, कोई लॉ भी है, कोई इकोनॉमिक्स का भी कोई इशू है, what do you mean by inflation? Now, you should have an understanding. You should not 3 line, sir, inflation is this. No. You must have an. उसमें क्या होगा कि आप जब बोलोगे तो फ्लो ऐसा फास्ट होगा because you have understood the thing. You have to only translate into your language. Now, translation into some other language is an issue. I will address that later on. But at least I would tell you here, please go prepared with whatever language you have chosen for the interviews. Don't have any feeling कि मैंने हिंदी लिया तो ना जाने क्या होगा. Rather, I have seen that in the members in the board, if somebody has taken some language, Hindi, and he or she is able to converse very nicely and express very nicely, उसको 2 मार्क और ही मिल देते हैं. क्योंकि ये होता है कि भाई हिंदी में ने एक्सप्रेस इतना अच्छा किया because something different. Are you getting my point? So don't have this feeling कि हिंदी में मैंने बोला तो मैं इंग्लिश वाले से थोड़ा सा पिछड़ा हुआ हूँ. It is all fair as far as language is concerned, and you should not have any second doubts about the language, that some languages will get you more marks and some language will get you less marks. And जो भी आप language लेके जाएं उसको तैयारी करें. हिंदी में आप बोलते बोलते इंग्लिश के वर्ड यूज कर लेते हैं, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. मोर इम्पोर्टेंट फ्रेंड्स इज एक्सप्रेशन. आपके माइंड में एक वर्ड आ रहा है, आप हिंदी का वर्ड नहीं ढूंढ पा रहे हैं, आप इंग्लिश से हिंदी में करेंगे तो थोड़ा सा जोर आता है. बट हिंदी से आप इंग्लिश के कोई वर्ड्स, क्योंकि आप स्टडीड इन इंग्लिश मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम, तो आपको इतने वो जो बड़े डिफिकल्ट वर्ड्स हैं हिंदी के वो नहीं आपको आते, तो आप इंग्लिश का वर्ड यूज करके समझा सकते हैं. एक्सप्रेशन is more important than the language. It is not a test of language. It is not a test of fluency also. But your fluency should be such that you are able to express what you have in mind. कई बार कैंडिडेट आते हैं, मॉक इंटरव्यू की बात कर रहा हूँ, मेन इसमें भी, बट मॉक में ही होता है कि हम पूछ लेते हैं बाद में, तो they were not able to speak. So at the end of the interview, when we had the feedback session, we said, मुझे लगता है आपको सब आता था लेकिन आप बोल नहीं पाए थे. Yes sir, this is the first time, sir, I have shifted from Hindi to English. So I was all the time translating into English, and so I could not find words. Now, whatever you have chosen, that is not changeable now. But what my point is, you should not feel bad about choosing any particular language, and be very strong in that, and express करते हुए एक आध कोई word बीच में आप use कर लेते हैं तो अटकिएगा मत, क्योंकि उस समय आपका 30 मिनट का जो जो पूरा है टाइम, उसमें आप ये इंप्रेशन नहीं दे के आए कि आपको नॉलेज नहीं थी इसलिए नहीं बता पाए. The next one, friends, is logical exposition. Logical exposition is basically comprehensive description. So when you mention something, you discuss comprehensively within the least time. Now, some people may get slightly confused कि comprehensive का मतलब लंबा खींच दो, सब कुछ जो आता है सब उड़ेल दो, सब बता दो मुझे जो आता है कि सामने वाला इंप्रेस हो जाए कि ये भी आता है इनको, ये भी आता है. No. Please make your answers very crisp, to the point, structured. Best would be, all right, tell me what are the 4 good things. Oh, tell me, you are from Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh is going to have an investor summit very soon. Now tell me, if you were the industry secretary and you needed investments, what are the 4 things that you would tell to the industrialists and investors to attract people to the Uttar Pradesh state? Sir, I would, the first is this. Secondly, thirdly, fourthly. Now, if you are ready, fine. If you're not ready, think for 2, 3, 4 seconds, seek time, but come out in a structured manner. Sir, I think we can do this. We can also do this. We can also. Now, don't use this word, we can also do this. We can. Look at the answer question. What would you do? Sir, if I were the industry secretary, I would first of all tell them, we have plenty of land. Number 2, sir, we have got digital connectivity, whatever. I'm not factually, don't go by it. Number 3, we have very good roads, sir, so that, the road connectivity is excellent. And 4th, sir, we are ease of doing business is excellent. So these are the 4 things which I'm going to. Now, on merit, they may not be 100% because they've asked you only 4 things. The member may have some 5th thing also. But the way, the confidence with which you answered and the structured manner in which you answered, you may have difference of opinion. No, road is not so important, somebody may say. But then somebody may answer back, why road is not important, so it's questionable. What is important is the confidence with which he remembered, the confidence with which he knew his state, the confidence with which he structured his answer, and the confidence with which he quickly answered the question. This is the personality, not the content completely, unless the content is totally rubbish, right? So just an example. Next is, friends, balance of judgment. Now, all this is basically answering all your possible questions. I'm taking it in great detail so that, you would know. And this is the Bible. I would say that this is how they are going to, they would be, in fact, the members are also told that these are the things we are looking for. So please, when you go to the board and members as member, when I also went, so they take a briefing, give a briefing. We are supposed to do this, we are supposed. And in between also, if some member asks, some other irrelevant or maybe not related to this particular thing, so the chairperson may sound, I think we have to, don't ask too many questions about knowledge. They have already been tested, and they mention also. So next point is balance of judgment. Now, balance of judgment is very important from the point of view that, as I had mentioned, the views. Now, take for instance, let me take another illustration where your views could be, could be asked. Suppose the GST, right? Or maybe even recently, there have been many incidents where you have pension, old scheme pension, right? This is very relevant for you. Some states have done it, some states have a lot of pressure on government of India. Somebody may ask, what do you think about old pension scheme coming back? Now, you may have your own personal idea that yes, अगर IAS वगैरह में pension ही नहीं होगी तो फिर क्या फायदा हो? How would we work? This is what normal, government servants feel. Even as a citizen or maybe as an ex government servant or maybe as a retired, I would also feel कि अगर pension नहीं मिलती होती तो आज हम क्या करते? So, but is important is balance of judgment. You cannot you cannot give your own personal views unless they are matching with the prudent views. Prudent means when a normal समझदार व्यक्ति जो व्यू रखता है उस जैसा व्यू आपका अगर है पर्सनल, तब तो बहुत अच्छी बात है, आप बैलेंस्ड हो। जैसे आप अपने नॉर्मल सोशल लाइफ में भी कहते अरे भाई बहुत समझदार है, बैलेंस है, एकदम से नहीं। अच्छा चलो अपन एक छोटे से हवाई जहाज में बैठ के उड़े, हाँ हाँ हाँ, बड़ा मजा आएगा। नहीं नहीं, ऐसा नहीं यार, देखो पहले वो सही है कि नहीं सिक्योरिटी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से, तभी पूछें इसका सर्टिफिकेशन दे दे। नहीं नहीं नहीं, अच्छा नहीं है जाना। नाउ प्रूडेंस एंड जजमेंट, तो ये बैलेंस ऑफ जजमेंट आपको दिखाना है कि सर as far as old pension scheme is concerned, so that was the norm. We have to see why it was removed. So pensions take away a lot of revenue, and lot of money goes into paying to the pension. Now, no government would like to spend the entire money on establishment and pensions and salaries. Uh, in India, already we have seen that most of the money, the budget goes into the establishment and running the staff. So they thought that development is also important. You have to keep some money apart from development, and that is good for the country. So with that objective, it was changed and some other scheme was brought. However, if you see from pensioners' point of view, from the employees' point of view, sir, it makes a lot of sense because it gives you security. And as a welfare state, it had happened earlier. The only thing is that it costs the exchequer very, very highly. And so that is the only reason why old pension scheme is difficult to be brought. And in case of Rajasthan and in case of Chhattisgarh and some other states which are following this, generally the economists are also raising this point that uh, their budget may go berserk, and they may not be able to meet their both ends. That's it. So I feel, sir, the old pension is a good scheme, and if any state government, with its finances, without affecting the development of the state, if they can manage and if they can do it, I have no issue there. You have supported the scheme, but you have put a condition कि नहीं, ऐसा नहीं कि bankrupt हो जाए और हाथ पसार पसार के वो वर्ल्ड बैंक को और IMF और भारत सरकार के चक्कर लगाएं. Not that. So you have given a balanced view. This is how there can be many such situations. And in fact, many situations, questions are also asked, friends. You have to be very careful about it. So my advice to you is, do not be government centric, that you are landing up in government. Do not be opposition centric also, कि मैं तो हर चीज को oppose करने के लिए. Do not read the mind of the members कि वो क्या चाहते हैं. Give a balanced view. Discuss what government had to do if it is a government's initiative, and then come out with what public opposed and then why they opposed. Take, for instance, farmers' law. It was brought about. Now it is not a big issue now. Nobody will ask this question. But at one point in time, last year, it was a very hot topic. Are you in favor of these laws? So the answer, proper answer, balanced answer was, sir, it was done with a good intention. There were 3 initiatives, this. However, the farmers thought that the MSP will be done away with, and they were having some fears. The government could have sensitized them more, and before bringing out this bill and the act, they could have discussed more with them, addressed their apprehensions. In that case, maybe it would have been more participative, but then balanced. Got it? Next is variety and depth of interest. So this is basically the diversity that you have about your knowledge. Next is ability for social cohesion and leadership. So friends, you will be a leader all the time. Once you get into the civil services, you are going to be a leader. whether you are born leader or you are not a born leader. You have to act like a leader. So you have to act like a leader in the interview also. And keep reflect in your replies things which reflect the leadership qualities. I remember having asked questions pertaining to this leadership skill. Oh, you are the district magistrate of a district, and the you know the rights are taking place, and you have to immediately act. What would you do, sir? I will call a meeting, and I will call SP, and I will do this, I will do that, and after we discuss, I will call the chief secretary, seek help from them, ask more forces, and sir, once we get the forces, then we will uh, take necessary action. Now, this is no leadership quality. So our supplementary answer used to be, would you not go to the Roy? Sir, we'll go when we get the necessary help and all. Now, you are not a leader. You are dependent on a third person. District magistrate is a leader of the district. He has to show the way to everyone. And I remember, I mean, I'm not just mentioning what is written in the books. We have done it ourselves. I was district magistrate in Jaipur. There were such incidents. We were the first to reach the spot. Not that every time you should reach the spot, because depends on the seriousness of the. There are situations in which you feel that unless the DM reaches there, things will not be under control. But there are smaller situations where SDM can go, Tehsildar with his magistrate powers. So what I'm trying to say is leadership. So you must say, another question I asked, all right, you arrested a gunda. The police arrested a gunda and put behind bars. That gunda is linked with political, some minister. And after you arrest him and put on behind the bars, the minister calls you up. कि भाई डीएम साहब इसको रिलीज कर दीजिए, छोड़ दीजिए उसको. What would you do? So they were mixed. Some people, some candidates kept on dilly-dallying. Sir, I will try to समझाओ the minister and that ऐसा नहीं है sir, ये है वो है वो है. नहीं हुआ तो if he doesn't agree, any may transfer you, sir वो समझ जाएंगे वो. नहीं समझेंगे तो क्या होगा? तो कि सर फिर मैं और अपने बॉस से बात करूंगा ये. No, never did he say that मैं उसको नहीं छोड़ूंगा. It is under my power, my responsibility. I will not, unless the law allows. One candidate or few candidates, they even said, "Sir, I will not leave. I will not let him go." Remember, Sumesh? This is leadership. So I am giving you these instances and illustrations to explain. ये लोग जो चाहते हैं वो आपके आंसर से कैसे पता लगेगा? आप वहाँ लीडरी थोड़ी ना करोगे वहाँ की लेके आप वहाँ पे कोई वो तलवार चलाने लगोगे, देखो साहब मैं लीडर हूँ. You have to tell everything through your answers. Correct? Intellectual and moral integrity. Now, I'll just explain this in short and you will understand. Now, integrity in a bureaucrat is one of the foremost requirement, friends. Because after having spent 35 years in the service, I've realized that you should be very clear right in the beginning when you enter the service. But even before you enter the service, you have to reflect that integrity of a bureaucrat is the most important trait. We have a friend in the panel who generally asks this question. All right, there are 5 or 6 skills. You would, what skills you would like to have, and compare integrity. You're good human relation oriented officer, and you are very good in public administration. What skill would you like to have the first foremost? Integrity. The question can be asked in another: what skills, what requirements you think the bureaucrat should have? And either he may say 3, 4, or you may just ask. So integrity is very important. Leadership is another. Teamwork and coordination capability is another. Human relations. So service oriented. So what I'm trying to say is integrity is very important. क्योंकि अगर आपके जजमेंट में, आपके डिसीजन में ऑनेस्टी नहीं होगी, तो आपका डिसीजन गलत होगा ही होगा. अगर आप उस गुड्डे को निकाल के बाहर कर देते हैं, बिकॉज आप डिसऑनेस्ट हो, आपकी इंटीग्रिटी डाउटफुल है, आप किसी प्रेशर में आके अपने इंटरेस्ट में कि मेरा ट्रांसफर ना हो जाए या मेरा करियर खराब ना हो जाए, आप अपने सर्विस को, अपनी ड्यूटी को फॉलो नहीं कर रहे, तो आपका पहला तो जजमेंट यही गलत हो गया और आपने उसको छोड़ दिया। वो जब छूटा तो उसने फिर कुछ और किया, जब फिर कुछ और किया तो इट विल हैव अ रोलिंग इफेक्ट एंड अ डे विल कम दैट ही विल रियलाइज कि यार उस समय में अगर ये कर देता तो ये सब प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती। तो व्हाट इज इम्पोर्टेंट इज दैट इंटीग्रिटी। आप अगर ऑनेस्ट हो, आपके सोच ऑनेस्ट है, आप किसी को एडवाइस भी बिल्कुल सही सही दो। 90% advices which people give, whether on asking or even otherwise, वो they are loaded with their own interests. Are you getting my point? कि चले यहाँ वहाँ मेरे साथ चले यार, वहां तक मुझे ना डर लग रहा है, वो मेरे साथ चल सकता है, तो मेरा बहुत अच्छा दोस्त है। तो वो कहेगा अच्छा, वहाँ मुझे चलो रात को वैसे भी पान लेने जाना है, तो हाँ हाँ चल यार, चल चलते। बट सपोज इफ ही हैज नो इंटरेस्ट, he will say अरे यार तू चला जाइए। now which means that if you are honest, you would go with him irrespective of your requirements or interests. Same thing when in bureaucracy, every decision, mind you friends, you may be at the crossroad, ये करूं कि ये करूं, ये करूं कि ये करूं। So it is the balance of judgment which helps you, and it is the integrity which will help and give you the way. आपको किसी से नहीं पूछना क्या करना है, भाई वही करो जो सही सही है। सही क्या है, लॉ में ये दिया हुआ, यू डू इट एंड बिल्कुल मस्त रहो, उसके बाद कुछ नहीं होगा। बाकी चीजें, ट्रांसफर की बातें हम जब आप लोग आईएएस में आ जाओगे ना, फिर अपन दोबारा मिलेंगे। अभी उसमें से मैं डराने नहीं चाहता। नाउ दिस इज अबाउट, देन द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन थिंग इज very important. Technique of the interview personality test is not that of a strict cross examination, but of a natural, though directed and purposive conversation. So friends, it is a conversation. But conversation is not like two friends talking to each other. At times the candidates become very informal. दोस्त की तरह भी नहीं करना है और हंसी हंसी भी नहीं, वो हंस रहे हैं तो आप भी हंसने लगे बहुत ज्यादा उनके साथ। डोंट डू दैट। यू हैव टू कीप विद इन योर अपने जो आपका जो प्रोटोकॉल है, आप बिहेवियर का उसी में रहना है। लेकिन एट द सेम टाइम इट शुड नॉट बी टेंस्ड, यू शुड नॉट बी अपराइटेड। जैसे कोई इंटरव्यू आप दे रहे हो, क्वेश्चन आंसर क्वेश्चन आंसर, इट इज नॉट लाइक अ वाइवा फॉर साइंस स्टूडेंट्स। So it is basic conversation. So Mr. Rajesh, what do you think about this? These things, lot of is being talked about cryptocurrency, and it has, or maybe inflation. Inflation, you think it has gone up or it has been coming down? Sir, I have a feeling that the inflation was very high some time ago, but with some initiatives by the RBI, especially in repo rate, uh, increase in repo rate, uh, there have been the tendency of inflation is coming down. And you think that we have reached the level? No, sir, we haven't reached that level, but with the kind of intervention of RBI, I think we will reach the desired level. Conversation. Stiff होके नहीं बैठना, sir. I think that it is not good. RBI has done all the important things. I think within the next 2 months things will settle down. No. So I hope I have made you understand. Purposive conversation. किसी purpose के साथ हो रहा है and natural. So please keep this in mind. And next is the interview personality test is not intended to be a test either of the specialized general knowledge of the candidates, which has already been tested. There are many board members, mind you, despite the fact that we keep on telling you in the mock interview कि भाई फिजिक्स के हो तुम, बीएससी एमएससी करिए, फिजिक्स के प्रिंसिपल्स आपसे नहीं पूछेंगे, केमिस्ट्री के कोई रिएक्शंस नहीं पूछेंगे, सब कुछ है। हिस्ट्री है तो हिस्ट्री की कोई पुरानी कोई बैटल्स नहीं पूछेंगे, बट 99% वाले नहीं पूछे, 1% पूछ भी सकता है। एंड अगेन आई एम गिविंग द example of Shruti Sharma. She even mentioned in her post result interview, and She is a history student, and we did tell her कि नहीं history की ज़्यादा चीजें नहीं पूछेंगे. She didn't ask also, but we said कि general questions are generally asked. Now, when she went for the interview, I didn't listen. I mean, I didn't talk to her after that, but I saw her video. She said that my interview was spoiled because there were members who were kept on asking history. I was not so well prepared. So, friends, it's a calculated risk. So the point is that you have to be more prepared for the general things, but at the same time, if some member asks you, maybe later on somebody may discount. The chairman may say, no, you asked such questions which were not relevant. But you never know, somebody may not ask. So it's always good to brush up some of your important things, even if it is history, public administration, political science. Questions are asked from the subjects, mind you. We also ask questions in political science, but related to the general admin governance, not theories and any definitions. So जो application part है वो आप जरूर करके जाइएगा. So they say कि either of the specialized general knowledge which has been tested through their written papers. So what my advice to you is that use your qualification. ग्रेजुएशन है चाहे पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन में है, साइंस आपने इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स इंजीनियरिंग करी है, सिविल किया है, आपने मैकेनिकल किया है, समथिंग और द अदर स्पेस किया है. somebody may ask you, okay, abhi today these days space has been privatized. The space of space has been privatized. So what are your views about it? So that person being a space engineer or done something, you will know better. Yeah, what do you think, would Elon Musk be able to reach Mars? Now, normally it may not be asked by any person with history background, but कोई स्पेस इंजीनियरिंग करके दिखा रहा है कि मैंने स्पेस इंजीनियरिंग में डिग्री ली है, उससे क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हैं. बट रिलेटेड टू सम इंसिडेंट, सम करंट अफेयर, नॉट ये कि भाई उसमें कौन सा इंजन यूज होता है, किस मेक का होता है, आईएसआई होता है, नहीं होता. नो, बिकॉज मेंबर्स को भी तो नहीं पता, दे आर नॉट स्पेस इंजीनियर्स. बट कोई हिस्ट्री का अगर आ गया, उसने पूछ लिया, बिकॉज हिस्ट्री वो मे हैव बीन हिज पैशन. So he asked that question. So it is a matter of chance. But अच्छा है कि उसको भी chance factor को भी खत्म करके जाओ. And finally, it says candidates are expected to have taken an intelligent interest, mind you, intelligent interest, not only in the special subjects of academic study, but also in the events which are happening around them, both within and outside their own state or country as well. So I've already discussed this, so I did not elaborate. And lastly, in as well as in modern currents of thought and in the new discoveries which should rouse the curiosity of a well-educated youth. So friends, things will not end. If you are a biology student, if you are an MBBS, it doesn't mean कि चलो hospitals और MBBS health sector ही पूछेंगे. आपसे ये भी पूछ सकते हैं कि artificial intelligence बताओ भी क्या है. आपसे कंप्यूटर क्वांटम कंप्यूटर के बारे में पूछ सकते हैं. जनरली जो चीजें टेक्नोलॉजी एक जंप हो रही हैं या क्वांटम जंप ले रहा है टेक्नोलॉजी में, हेल्थ सेक्टर में, या सोसाइटी ट्रांसफॉर्म हो रही है अच्छे की तरफ या खराब की तरफ, सोशल मीडिया में जो चीज एक क्यूरियोसिटी किसी भी एक यंग माइंड को हो सकती है, वो भी आपको आना चाहिए. यू कैन नॉट आइदर टेल देम स्ट्रेट अवे और थिंक इन योर, अरे मैं बायोलॉजी का स्टूडेंट, ये क्या पूछ लिया मेरे से. नो, जो दुनिया में हो रहा है उसके बारे में जो एक यंग माइंड इंटेलिजेंटली सोचता है और करंट ऑफ थॉट आते हैं नए मॉडर्न, वो भी उनको इस बारे में जानकारी होनी चाहिए. तो फ्रेंड्स, आई थॉट दैट दिस थिंग पर्टिकुलरली विल बी ऑफ ग्रेट इंटरेस्ट टू यू. एंड सिमिलरली सर्विस के बारे में कई आप लोग जैसे पूछते हैं कि साहब मैंने आईएएस की जगह आईएफएस मार्क कर दिया, मैंने आईएफएस को लिया ही नहीं, और मैंने आईआरएस को सबसे टॉप पे रख दिया, मैंने आईपीएस को फर्स्ट पे कर दिया. You think somebody will ask me a question on that? Now again, friends, 99.9% the instruction is that they are not to be asked. And the thing is that because you can't compare the services, right? You can't compare the services because you are not into any service. Once you get your merit list, then the services will be allotted. And you can't appear like this, even if you have it in mind, कि मुझे तो IAS मिलेगा तभी मैं जाऊंगा, वो आप impression reflect मत करिएगा. अगर, क्योंकि nobody is sure where are you going to land. You may not join ultimately, even if you get it. But at that point of time, civil service is important, and don't take the name of IAS. Sir, I will go to IAS. I'm taking IAS because, no, I'm taking civil services exam, which shows that I am ready to take any service that I get finally. You can't give this pressure, I'll go in IAS, otherwise, so sir, interview I'm not bothered. No. Civil services. Don't use this IAS or IPS or whatever. If somebody asks you question, oh, IPS आपने सबसे पहले लिया है, तो कोई special reason? Now, some members, you can't stop. You can't help. आप उनको किसी समय क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया तो आप ये नहीं कह सकते आप क्वेश्चन स्टॉप, यू कांट डू इट. पूछ लिया तो पूछ लिया, बी रेडी विद दैट. नॉर्मली नहीं पूछेंगे, बट आंसर ढूंढने में और रखने में, ध्यान में रखने में, व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम? सो नॉर्मली व्हाट वी एडवाइज इज दैट आईपीएस आपने क्यों नहीं लिया, या आपने आईपीएस, सर आई हैव अ फीलिंग दैट द काइंड ऑफ पर्सनालिटी आई थिंक आई एम मोर सुटेबल फॉर द आईपीएस जॉब, and I've always been passionate more about the uniform services. So I had taken IPS as the first, but otherwise, whatever service I get, I'd be very happy. So IAS के लिए कोई नहीं पूछेगा कि आपने IAS पहले क्यों लिया. कोई अजीब सा एबनॉर्मल दिखेगा तो पूछ सकते हैं. So कई बार IFS को लेके भी पूछ ले सकते हैं कि भाई IFS आपने क्यों सबसे पहले दिया. Same answer. I have a passion for serving India and boosting the image of India, and I'm traveling this that, and उस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से आप बताएं. और आईएएस में आप सिविल सर्विसेज में क्यों आना चाहते हैं वो मैंने आपको थोड़ा बता ही दिया. अगेन आई एम गोइंग टू रिपीट दैट. सो पब्लिक सर्विसेज इज वन. योर करियर prospects and your satisfaction of a good career. It is basically the satisfaction that you get out of the joining this service. And how do you get the satisfaction? Number one, because it has diversified roles. The kind of diversities you have, not just in the IAS, but today even IPS officers are joint secretaries in culture department. The forest service officers are posted in some other place. Information and broadcasting officers are posted in my election commission. So what I'm trying to say is diversity, which you would not find in any other. So there is one public sector and private sector. So you have discriminated कि sir which means आपने जब ये कहा कि मैं public services में जाना चाहता हूँ, तो आपने straight away private sector और corporate sector को बिल्कुल खत्म कर दिया. There's no question of somebody asking, अच्छा, why don't you go to continue with the corporate sector? You are working in such a good company. Because you've already mentioned public services. Diversity of roles, leadership, the exposure that you get throughout your life, the rich exposure, the career prospects, I have mentioned, job satisfaction. I mean, job ko mat karna, career satisfaction. And you can serve a large number of people, which no other service can offer. With one stroke of your signature as collector or maybe as secretary government of India, you can change the destiny of your department. Now this power, I mean, I'm not saying the power in that sense, but this responsibility or the power or the something which has been entrusted of you gives you a greater satisfaction. So you are able to serve people, a large number of people with your. So friends, these are all possible questions which came in my mind. Now, lastly, those who have never appeared in the interview from this group, or maybe those who are online. So you will go to the UPSC, whatever time they mention, and you will do your formalities. And then once you are called, you will be made to sit outside the room in which you will be interviewed. So there's a chair outside the members' room. or the chairperson's room. There may be 3-4 boards, and one candidate is already inside. While his or her interview is going on, you will be made to sit there for say maybe 10-15 minutes before uh, this. The interview, then they will call you inside. You will enter. Now, the process of entering and process of sitting is also something which you have to keep in mind. And we keep addressing this issue to the male uh, candidates. Like, they wear a jacket, they should wear a jacket. Because in many mock interviews, they used to come just like that. वो कि नहीं क्या पहनोगे सर मेरा जैकेट है ड्राई क्लीन हो रहा है ये वो. So try to even wear your jackets and the exact dress in the mock interviews also. It will give you confidence. And मान लो आपके कैजुअलनेस को देख के मॉक इंटरव्यू में आपको मिलने चाहिए थे 70 और हम लोगों ने दे दिए 65, तो आप इसी इंप्रेशन से जाओगे कि आप मुझे 65 मिले. नॉट दैट 5% का फर्क होता है, बट और कुछ रीजन से तो उसमें 1-2% का रोल इसमें भी होगा. इफ यू कांट टेक केयर ऑफ योरसेल्फ तो आप अपने जॉब में के साथ क्या जस्टिस करोगे. दैट इज हाउ इट इज रिलेटेड. इफ यू आर सो कैजुअल कि मैं ऐसे ही आ गया, क्यों आए. आप जो ड्रेस फाइनली पहन रहे हो बिल्कुल वही उसी का ही ड्रिल करो ना. व्हाई डू हैव टू स्टेजेस में अलग अलग. नहीं सर आज तो मैं ये पहनूंगा, कल जैकेट पहनूंगा, परसों टाई पहनूंगा, और फिर लास्ट डे जो आएगा मैं. व्हाई यू मेक इट एज अ हैबिट, वे ऑफ लाइफ. अगर इफ यू हैव स्टार्टेड वेयरिंग द राइट ड्रेस विच यू आर गोइंग टू फाइनली वेयर, इवन इफ इट इज हॉट, क्या हो जाएगा 30 मिनट में क्या हो जाएगा. एंड इट्स अ मैटर ऑफ लाइफ टाइम. स्टेक्स आर वेरी हाई. सो आपको अपने में कॉन्फिडेंस अगर आ जाए उस ड्रेस में, तो आप वहां जाके ये नहीं करोगे यार ये थोड़ा सा इसने टाइट कर दिया, देखो आज ही मैंने पहना और ये बटन नहीं बंद हो रहा. और बटन की बात तो बड़ी फनी है हम लोगों की. मिस्टर सुमेश will tell you in greater detail sometime later. So candidates don't know बटन खोल के आना है कि बंद करके आना है. वो आते हैं, खोल के आते हैं तो वो बंद करने लगते हैं अंदर. कमरे में घुसे दरवाजे से गुड मॉर्निंग मैम, गुड मॉर्निंग सर, जो भी है, और वो करते करते गुड मॉर्निंग करते करते दे फिडल विद देयर बटन्स. जो खोला है वो बंद करने लगता है, जो बंद करके आया वो कभी कभी उसको खोलने लगता है. एंड टिल द टाइम दे एक्चुअली सिट, दे आर फिडलिंग विद देयर बटन. नाउ द अटेंशन इज डिस्ट्रैक्ट, आपका भी और मेंबर्स का भी. तो मेंबर उसके बटन को देखते हैं कि वो कर क्या रहा है, क्योंकि हमें तो उसी को देखना है. तो डोंट डू दैट. अगर आपको खोल के, इफ यू आर कंफर्टेबल सिटिंग वाइल ओपनिंग, कीपिंग इट ओपन, come like that, sit like that. Don't spend time and effort in buttoning and nobody is going to. बल्कि थोड़ा फ्रस्ट्रेटिंग हो जाता है, अरे भाई तुम बटन बंद कर लो या खोल लो, उसके बाद हम बात शुरू करते हैं. तो ऐसा कोई कहता नहीं है, बट वी नोट वेरी वेरी केयरफुली एंड वी नोटेड. सो एवरी थर्ड कैंडिडेट वी यूज्ड टू से दिस, क्योंकि दे वर नॉट श्योर कि करना क्या. सो माय एडवाइस इज that if you are comfortable in your keeping your jacket buttons open, enter like that, sit like that. If you are very happy and very comfortable with keeping it closed, enter like that, sit like that. But sitting with a closed button can bring surprises to you. उस दिन आपने चाय ज्यादा पी ली या कुछ कर लिया, वो बटन नहीं बंद होगा, आपके यहाँ पेट जो है कसता रहेगा, और आप बोलते हुए सोचोगे अरे यार ये मैंने क्या किया, एंड योर अटेंशन इज डिस्ट्रैक्टेड. तो थॉट्स कहाँ से आएंगे. So I always say the benefit of doubt should go in favor of keeping the button open, so that you're comfortable. बैठते हुए भी आप स्टिफ मत बैठो. बिल्कुल पीठ आपकी पीछे लगे, लेग्स को फोल्ड भी नहीं करना है. हाथ को कुछ लोग बिल्कुल ऐसे रख लेते हैं, ऐसे बैठते हैं, एंड दे कीप, जैसे वो चिपक गए हो हाथ यहाँ पे टांगों से. डोंट डू दैट. यूज सम मूवमेंट्स, बट डोंट ब्रिंग दोज मूवमेंट्स सो हाई कि ऊपर आके ऐसे 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 बिल्कुल वो कॉन्वर्जेशन जैसे एक्टर्स करते हैं, वो भी नहीं होना चाहिए. यू शुड यूज, गिव दैट इम्प्रेशन यूर इन कॉन्फिडेंस. एंड बिल्कुल वो नहीं है. एंड स्टिफ में बोलते बोलते यदि स्माइल करिए. कुछ लोग पूछते हैं कि सर क्वेश्चन जो पूछता है चेयरमैन को ही हम देखते रहें या हम सबकी तरफ देखें. तो हम उनको कहते हैं कि जो क्वेश्चन पूछे उनसे उनकी तरफ. आप नहीं कर सकते. One candidate came very bright otherwise, and I am asking a question and he is looking at Mr. Somesh. I am asking a question, he is looking at. मुझे बोलते बोलते वो वहां देख रहा है और बोल रहा है. So I felt very cheated. I said, ये क्या हो रहा है? You are looking at someone else while it question has come from me, so answer should also, because I want to respond immediately to his answer also. I can ask the second question. So वो भी एक issue है जो आपको ध्यान में रखना है. और एड्रेस किसको करना है सब कुछ. एक आए तो वो एक एक को पांचों कोई गुड मॉर्निंग सर, गुड मॉर्निंग मैम, गुड मॉर्निंग सर, गुड मॉर्निंग सर, गुड मॉर्निंग सर. नो, आप एंटर करें, चेयर की आंख में आंख डालें, चेयरपर्सन की, और उसको गुड मॉर्निंग सर या गुड आफ्टरनून सर. और जब आप ये करें तो सबकी तरफ यूं करके देख के एक ही बार गुड मॉर्निंग सर. मैम अगर कोई बैठी हैं तो नेचुरली उनको भी एड्रेस करना है, गुड मॉर्निंग सर, गुड मॉर्निंग मैम. तो सर मतलब सब आ गए उसके अंदर. और चेयर अगर मैम है तो चेयर गुड मॉर्निंग मैम, एंड देन गुड मॉर्निंग सर. कोई एक एक को नहीं करना है. लौटते हुए भी एक कैंडिडेट ने थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सर, नो, बस थैंक यू एक किया और निकल गए. और निकलते हुए भी फिर वो कोर्ट की तरफ हो. इट शोज योर नर्वसनेस. वो मत करिए, स्मार्टली बाहर निकले. पीछे जाते हुए भी देखते हैं, हम तो देखते हैं. आई ऑलवेज सी हाउ कॉन्फिडेंटली ही इज गोइंग आउट. कुछ लोग बिल्कुल ऐसे स्ट्रॉल करते हुए बाहर निकल जाते हैं, हल्के हल्के, जैसे वो कोई गार्डन में वॉक कर रहे हैं. शुड कम इन स्मार्टली, गो स्मार्टली. दिस इज ऑल आई थिंक द प्रोसेस. एंड इंटरव्यू के टाइम आप जो आंसर्स देंगे वो आपके नॉलेज पे डिपेंड करता है, वो आपके कॉन्फिडेंस पे डिपेंड करता है. उनके बारे में आई हैव ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू मेनी थिंग्स व्हाइल वी डिस्कस्ड what traits you should have and what traits UPSC is looking in you. So I stop here, friends. I have taken more than the time given to me, but it was all in your interest, not in my interest so much. But my interest is that all of you who are here should be successful. All of them who are watching this online should also be successful and should come out, uh, you know, in the list finally, and whatever best rank they can have. So now, if there are any questions, I am ready to field the question. Thank you. हाँ, जब कोई पूछ रहा है तो आप क्वेश्चन पूछने वाले को ही आंख मिला के उनसे को ही आंसर दीजिए. आप मान लीजिए आप जवाब देते हुए इधर उधर आप देखते भी हैं, तो उसके पीछे क्या पर्पज है? आर यू लुकिंग फॉर वैलिडेशन फ्रॉम अदर्स? आर यू दे आर ऑल्सो लिसनिंग टू यू, एंड दे आर ऑल्सो गोइंग गेटिंग अ चांस. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन अगला वाला पूछेगा, फिर उसकी आंखों में आप देखो. फिर तीसरा मेंबर पूछेगा, उसको देखो आप. ना, व्हाई डू हैव टू? किसी आदमी तब देखता है इधर उधर, जैसे मैं आपसे बात कर रहा हूँ और मैं आपको कह रहा हूँ कि देखो व्हाट्स योर नेम, हरनीत. सो हरनीत देखो ऐसा है इसमें, ऐसा अगर करोगे तो बिल्कुल सही होगा, यू नो. एंड आई लुक एट समवन एल्स, फिर वो मुंह हिलाएगा तो मैं वैलिडेट होऊंगा कि हाँ मैंने जो कहा है वो सही कहा है. सो इट इज मोर, इट शोज मोर कॉन्फिडेंस कि सर, I am asking the question, you are replying to me. The next member will get 3-4 minutes to ask 2-3-4 questions. The next member will also. If you keep rotating, your concentration will go. And I generally, members don't stop. मैं लेंथ के बारे में लास्ट पॉइंट एक बार, चूंकि आपने कहा, कई कैंडिडेट्स ऐसे हैं बोलते जाते हैं, बोलते जाते हैं, जब तक वो जितनी जो नॉलेज है वो नहीं बोलते. एक कैंडिडेट ने बाद में बताया फीडबैक में कि सर हमें लगा आप रोकोगे. So the norm is that nobody stops unless you are awkwardly and embarrassingly long. क्योंकि 30 मिनट में आपका एफर्ट ये रहना चाहिए कि जितने क्वेश्चंस आपको मिलें उतने अच्छे. You would not like 2 questions to be asked and you will take 15 minutes each. फिर टेस्ट क्या हुआ? Because every question and every answer is a test of your personality. It reflects something of your personality. Because at the end, in the feedback, which एक्चुअल यूपीएससी इंटरव्यू विल नेवर गिव, वो तो मार्क्स दे देते हैं आपके, बाद में पता रखते हैं। उसमें हम यही कहते हैं, यू वर कॉन्फिडेंट हरदीप, यू वर गुड, यू कम्युनिकेटेड वेरी वेल, थोड़े स्टिफ थे, थोड़ा रिलैक्स रहो और कभी कभी स्माइल करो, योर लीडरशिप क्वालिटी वॉज गुड एंड यू कुड कन्वर्स वेरी वेल, your thought process was also structured and you were giving structured answers. Now we are reflecting our feedback in terms of these skills, है ना? तो अगर आप उसमें इधर से उधर ऑसिलेट करते रहेगा आपका माइंड, मतलब केवल आपका आईज ही नहीं ऑसिलेट कर रहे हैं, माइंड भी कर रहा है, मतलब कोई बहुत ही विरला ही होगा जो बिल्कुल सबसे यूं मिलाते हुए और अपने थॉट्स को बड़े अच्छे से बोले। उस समय तो आपका ध्यान होता है यार मैं आंसर सही दे दूं, आप आपका एक माइंड पीछे वो होता है कि आता जाना, भाई वर्ड्स प्लीज कीप कमिंग, थॉट्स प्लीज कीप कमिंग। उस समय आप वांट टू सी एट समवन एंड स्टिल थॉट विल कम, वेरी डिफिकल्ट अनलेस यू आर अ बिग स्ट्रॉन्ग ओरेटर, जैसे पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स होते हैं कि भाइयों ये भाइयों वो, वो अपन नहीं है। मतलब इंटरव्यू में हैव यू टू वेरी कॉशियस दैट योर थॉट्स, द फ्लो ऑफ थॉट शुड बी कंटिन्यूअस। जहां आप अटक गए वहां पे आप कुछ ना कुछ वियर्ड आंसर दोगे। तो concentration of your mind and flow of your thoughts, that will be helpful if you look at the person. There is no norm. आप अपना इंटरेस्ट देखो, मैं कहता हूँ आप बस किसी नॉर्म पे मत जाओ, इसके मार्क्स नहीं होते तो वो सब तरफ देख रहा था तो 2 नंबर काट लो, ऐसा नहीं। इसके पीछे वजह यह है कि आप कंसंट्रेट नहीं कर पाओ, और उस मेंबर को जरूर थोड़ा सा बड़ा अजीब लगेगा कि वो जब मेरे से आंख मिलाए तब मैं कुछ पूछूं, ये तो नहीं करोगे। आप उसको देख रहे हो, हरनीत हरनीत, यस सर, मेरा, बट आपने ये जो कहा इसका मतलब क्या ये है? सर आई एम सॉरी, आई वाज लुकिंग एट देम, हिम, would not like that member should say such a thing. So it all means that you should look at the person who is asking. अच्छा, मेंबर्स का भी एक मैं अब आपको बताऊं, यूपीएससी में आजकल क्या मेंबर्स जहाँ बैठते हैं ना अपने रूम में ही ले लेते हैं, कोई बड़ा हॉल नहीं है। अच्छा, हॉल भी अगर है, हम भी वहाँ बैठे हैं, तो एक मेंबर ऐसे बैठा है, एक मेंबर ऐसे बैठा, एक ऐसे बैठा है, एक, तो इट इज ऑलमोस्ट सेमी सर्कल, कई बार सेमी सर्कल से भी ज्यादा हो जाता है, और वो 30 डिग्री बचता है बस। अब आप कहाँ से घुमाओगे यूं और इधर से घुमाओगे यूं, आखिरी मेंबर को देखने के लिए यूं जाओगे, फिर उसको देखने के लिए यूं जाओगे, तब तक आंसर भूल जाओगे। जस्ट एन एडवाइस, देर इज नथिंग रिटन नॉर्म, वट एवर आई हैव सेड इज बेस्ड ऑन माई ओन एक्सपीरियंस एंड आर जॉइंट एक्सपीरियंसेस which have fetched good marks, to the candidates, उसी को follow करना। In fact, if you see Shruti Sharma's, again I am coming to her. Why I am quoting her again and again? Because when you see it as an idol, Shruti topper. But I am telling you how one prepares and gradually, goes to the top level. So we told her in the feedback, मैं कोई गलत नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, आप देख लीजिएगा इंटरव्यूज का। उनको मैंने 2 चीजें कही। She said कि क्या पॉइंट चल रहा था आपका? आई रिमेंबर्ड अनदर पॉइंट, व्हाट वाज, हाँ, फ्लुएंसी एंड चॉइस ऑफ वर्ड्स। So in the last feedback way, I told her, I said, the choice of words that you have picked up in your expression were excellent. She had a good command over English and the words, not just English, words. अब आप वर्ड्स को समझा के, एक वर्ड से सब समझ आता है। You have to see to understand what I mean. And in fact, another thing a flaw which we told and advised her, when we asked her why IAS, same question, she said diversity and all, but she also said, sir, I want to give back to the society. So उस समय तो हमने सुन लिया, बाद में feedback में, again you can see my conversation with her, hear my conversation, that I told her, I said, don't give that answer. She is just 24 years old. I told her कि अभी 24 साल की हुई हो, अभी तुमने सोसाइटी को क्या देना है? अभी तो सोसाइटी से लेना है तुम्हें। पीपल लाइक अस जो निकल चुके हैं उस दौर से, हम सोसाइटी को दे रहे हैं बाय गिविंग, मेंटरिंग यू एंड ऑल। बट ये डोंट गिव दिस आंसर। आईएएस आप इसलिए नहीं करो कि मैं सोसाइटी को देने के लिए, गलत आंसर, वो गलत लगता है, झूठ लगता है। आप समझे? तो शी सेड ऑल राइट। जरूरी नहीं पूछा हो, वो तो आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि जरूरी नहीं कि जो क्वेश्चंस आपको मॉक में आए वही क्वेश्चंस वहां पूछे जाएं। बट यू गेट द आइडिया, सेंस पता लग जाता है कि भी क्या चीज मुझे करनी चाहिए, क्या नहीं करनी चाहिए। बट अंदर घुसना बैठना ये तो कॉमन है सबके साथ, दैट यू कैन ऑलवेज फॉलो विदाउट एनी प्रॉब्लम।